Hey everybody, it's Nat with the Teen Talk program. I hope you are doing well today and welcome back to Conversations with Nat on the Teen Talk channel. Remember that if you want to follow us, you need to click the button and subscribe so you can make sure you don't miss any videos that are coming out. So today I am chatting with Eliana. She was one of our TEDx speakers in 2025, not about 2 months ago. I can't believe time has gone by. Uh, Eliana, tell everybody about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eliana, the Soul Mami. I am a human, first and foremost, a life liver. I'm a speaker, storyteller, and what I call a soul pollinator. I go around the world using my words, sparking inspiration through stories in the hearts and souls of people. That's what I do.
Mm, I love that.
And now a
And I
TEDx speaker.
and now a TEDx speaker, absolutely. And we forget that title, and it carries a lot of weight when people say I'm a TEDx speaker.
Yeah.
Now, I've been in the TEDx world for a little while because my husband did one in 2019, and then I was supposed to coach in 2020, but then the world sort of imploded, right? And that didn't
Yeah.
happen. And I don't want to say that it's not impressive. I think that there is some weight that's carried with doing a TEDx talk. Uh, And I really truly believe the ideas are what make the difference.
Yes, I agree. And there's definitely a way. I still haven't claimed the title. I still haven't fully been using it. I think I'm still in process mode post the high of such a great event.
Yeah. And I think once you see the video, that will change the perspective as well.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be on the internet everywhere
Forever. About
forever.
vulnerability. I don't know what's scarier, doing it the day of or actually, seeing the video and knowing like this is just gonna live here on the internet streets for a long time.
And I mean, let's be honest, it's a process. We started back in, late fall 2024 and really moved through, each week with mentors, with trainings. Did you feel the process was long enough? Was it too short? I know that for you, we connected a couple of times. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it was, looking back, it was just right. It was just
Hmm.
the right amount of time for preparation. In my mind, it felt longer. I felt like I
Yeah.
was pregnant and like I would never give birth. It just like the due date was so far, and I'm like, I just want to get it over with. It wasn't for me, it wasn't an enjoyable process, and it has nothing to do with the team and whatnot. It was just
Hmm.
an initiation for me because I was putting so much mental pressure on myself. Even though, we had trainings and everything, even though I'm not new to this world, it's my background,
Yeah.
my career, and yet I think because of the weight of it all and what it carries and the name it carries, for me personally, I was just pressuring myself so much. So the process felt longer, longer.
But the outcome was incredible.
It was just, what a wonderful day, what a wonderful team, what a wonderful feeling to do something hard and then just kind of surrender to the day and the moment and trust and enjoy, and for me, allow myself to be seen and received. And when we speak and when we communicate, our words are seeds. Whether we're speaking at TEDx, whether we're talking, to random people, whether it's an event, our words are seeds. And so I always look at us communicators and speakers as farmers. We're farmers, and each word is a seed.
Oh,
Yeah, we're farmers.
I
So
love that analogy.
yes. And so every time we're talking, even if it's casually to friends, to strangers, our words are powerful, and we're planting these seeds, and that's our only job. We don't know how those seeds are going to land in the other. We don't know how those seeds are going to sprout. We don't know that. Sometimes we plant the seeds, sometimes we water seeds already planted. And so for me to have planted seeds in the audience and even watered seeds already planted was, oh, it was such a relief. it was such a relief to just let go and then see who caught them and see who came and see who responded and be like, oh, okay, we're here.
Well, because the idea behind TED, any of the TED Talks, whether it's TED or TEDx, it's about creating conversation. It's about getting people to talk about what the speaker talked about and, perspective. When I started my business, along the whole seed thing, I created a quote, and the quote says, every opportunity is a speaking opportunity. How will you seize it?
Yes.
Because I feel like every time you show up, you get the chance to say what you got to say and create impact. And even if it's just customer service, answering a question,
Yeah.
being a good listener to a friend, those opportunities create impact through the conversation.
And I love that.
Yeah. And you clearly think communication is important if you've been doing this
100%.
a long time.
I think it's not only important, I think it's a vital and essential skill for every human on this planet to have
Mm-hmm.
it. And I think we're all, yeah, we're all naturally good at, well, I say we're all naturally good communicator at, we are at some point when we're younger and we're less conditioned and more expressive, oh, I just watched this movie, da, 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 and then we start kind of shutting our voice down due to life traumas and things. But communication is the bridge to connection. Communication
Absolutely.
is the bridge to connection for me. When we speak, we're planting the seed, we're allowing ourselves to be seen, and that word, that seed builds a bridge that connects human to human. And that's we all crave to feel connection. And so if we can learn to communicate and we can learn to express, I think that's an essential skill for all of us.
My students are going to have to listen to this.
No,
And
they need it.
because,
We all need it.
yeah, I mean, I started Teen Talk in the spirit of making sure my daughter was a good communicator, because I was not a good communicator as a child. I was very shy and nervous and anxious. Yes, believe it or not.
Me too,
I
actually.
was. And I remember that like it would be physically a problem. So I thought, there is no way I'm going to raise a child to feel that way. And 10 years ago, the program was born. So, my goal essentially is to really empower teens to have those communication skills so that they, I guess, inevitably can connect.
Which is so important. And I think that's just such a lovely mission. I when I started my speaking journey, I started working with teens as well. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily teaching them communication. At some point I would give workshops on teaching storytelling and teaching them how to share their story specifically. And I mean, the impact is palpable to them. The impact is even more, I think, quicker than adults because of the age that they're in and the vulnerability and tenderness that they're in, and not having lived the life that we have lived. I think there's more of a sponge there. And it's, like I said, regardless of what you're going to do in life as a career, whether you're going into politics or business or education, knowing how to convey a message and communicate is, everyone needs to learn that. We all need to learn that.
So what would be your top 3 tips to give people, like if they're looking for that, especially in the storytelling side? And I don't want to, I mean, we can spend as much time as we want here, but when I teach, I'm always harping on, if you're going to make a point, you have to have a story that goes along with it. Like, there's just no doubt about it, because if you're talking about it, it's because you've lived it, or you know of it, you've seen it happen. And the stories, to me, are the things that make people relatable, that we understand one another. What
Yeah.
would be your 3 things that, if somebody was wanting to, I don't know, start a speaking journey, what would you recommend that they start focusing on?
Wow. Okay. So if they wanted to start a speaking journey, or they just wanted to learn
Maybe,
communicate
yeah.
better? I would start by first taking inventory to take inventory of their life. Um,
Hmm.
what have you lived? What have you experienced? What have you seen? What have you heard? But mainly, what have you lived? We all have stories, and that's what forms a connection. Sometimes we don't think our stories are worthy, but when before even thinking the type of bridge we're going to connect, we need to look inward and ask ourselves, what's already in the cabinet of my life experience? What ingredients and spices am I working with? Because that would give us a clue on what we're trying to cook in terms of the story,
Yeah.
right? Well, I come from a single parent household, and okay, I know how that made me feel. I experienced abuse in my family or not. I know what it's like, just kind of going
Yeah.
through, making a list of what is everything that I've shared, and within that, I mean, everything that we've lived. So making an inventory of the stories that you can share. Um, three tips. And two, I would start looking for patterns within that. What wisdom have I
Hmm.
learned? What are the lessons that these stories have taught me? Wow, well, because I experienced A, B, and C, those things made me confidence. And I've been confident ever since. Maybe there's a message there on confidence, right? So almost like collect the data, analyze the
Yeah.
data being the stories, right? Like, what is the fruit coming out of this? And then find spaces and opportunities to start sharing it, because speaking is a muscle, communicating is a muscle. Once you
Yeah.
learn, how to do it, well, no one's born just doing it perfectly and excellently. I was very shy as well, like you, right? People see
Yeah.
me speaking now and it's like, well, I've done my rounds and my reps, so I feel really comfortable with my
Exactly.
voice. So then it's just a matter of finding the spaces and places where you can share and be like, oh my God, let me tell you this story about this one time how blah, blah, blah. You start
Yeah.
sharing, and people remember the stories and the lessons that you share that come from that.
Yeah.
So I would
And
say that.
I like that. Might have to use some of that.
Yes,
Borrow
use
it.
it. Use it.
I always make sure that when I'm in a classroom, I tell teens, you all have a story to share. You are all important. Um, because they just want to be seen and heard. And being seen and heard is hard sometimes, especially now when it comes to tech. I find that there's a bit of hiding behind the tech. They're not as vocal. And I'm trying to draw them away from that to give them that space that when they do have an idea, how can we spark it so that it kind of blossoms into something that they're proud of?
Yeah.
And it never fails that there is always that fear of judgment and will I be understood? Will they want to listen to me? But everything they have to say is important.
A hundred
Everything they have to
percent.
say.
And you made a good point. I think it's more of a challenge with today's generation because we live in such an online world, and our
Yeah.
brain is like, it's the same that I mentioned during my TED talk. Like, we consume so much more information than what our brain can process. In a day we consume, like, I forgot the number. It's a couple of gigabytes of information that we consume in a day, and our brain can only process like 0.0001 of that, which is like half of a picture on our phone.
Yeah.
So imagine we
Yeah.
consume like 4 hours worth of information or of pictures, but our brain can only process half of that. And so we get lost in that in between processing space. And yeah, it's way harder with this generation to try to bring it back to the ancestral way of storytelling, because I do think, I mean, stories are ancestral. It's how the
Yeah.
world was made and maintained. So I
Yeah.
think you're doing excellent work and
Oh, thank
challenging
you.
work to work
It
with
is.
teams
Yeah.
and getting them to really value the importance of storytelling and communicating, and making them realize, like, you have a story, it matters, and it deserves to be told because it's going to reach someone. And that's the point.
Absolutely. Because there's always somebody out there. They say that in marketing. Like you only need one person to, you know, to see you and go, oh, I need her or I need to talk to them. So I want to circle right back to TEDx now. Like if somebody's looking to apply and they're thinking like, "Ugh," and this is not about our TEDx, but it could be any TEDx that you want to apply to, would you have some recommendations for them to look out for or things that they should do?
Yeah. First, I would say check your heart. Are you
Mm.
wanting to apply from a place of ego, from a place of like, I want to do this? Because I know this was me 10 years ago when I started out my journey and I was, having speaking tours and doing speaking circuits. I'm like, I'm going to do a TEDx, but it was from an
And
ego
you're like,
place. I didn't have anything to say. I didn't have an idea. I was just starting living my life and becoming a full woman. I didn't have an idea. um it was an ego thing, and so I let it go, and then this came to me when I wasn't looking for it because it was time. And so for anyone interested, I would first say check your heart. Is it from a place of ego that you're wanting to do TEDx because you think that doing the TEDx is going to add value or worth to you as a person? Yes, it's a good brand, but are you doing it from that place, or is there something in your heart that you genuinely think, wow, this idea, humanity needs to know about this idea. This idea is going to spark conversation. This idea is going to spark inspiration. This idea is going to get people talking. And I think that would be the primary thing.
thank you.
Because that's
Yes.
the seed. The intention is the seed. So that's important. And then from there, it's, well, if you have a good seed and intention, then yeah, go for it. Put yourself out there. See what, see, there's always
Oh,
TEDx events happening.
and I love the first one, that check with your heart, because we received many emails saying, I could speak at your event. I was like, but you could apply. Oh no, I've already done one. So you could just invite me and I'll just do it. And I thought, well, what if we're not aligned? Like you can't assume. And I think that's part of it, the checking the heart. Don't assume that you'll get a spot because um, for me, it was really important as the organizer to have everybody on the same level, that everybody is equal. It doesn't matter what letters follow your name or, how many countries you've visited. Are you bringing an idea to the table that will spark conversation?
Yeah.
No
And I,
idea,
I think you did a
less
great job.
likely.
I think you did
Okay.
a great job in curating and choosing the team. We had such an amazing team, both on the organizer and mentor end, but also the other speakers. I was like, we need more time together. We need to talk more together. It's just like, who are you people? Who are these wonderful humans? Like, I want to pick your brain some more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something to consider for future events, of how we can, curate more of a bond. And I have
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah. But I think it's intention. Nowadays,
Yeah.
everyone's like, yeah, I did this and I have it under my belt. And, we kind of use that to glorify our egos. But
Yeah.
what's really at the heart, and what are you really circulating into your community and humanity? I think that's
Because
important.
I have not done TEDx. And I dare to say, I'm not even sure I know what to talk about,
And
which
yet
is
here you are
crazy
organizing.
because I talk all the time. I love what I do. I just don't know that I found like the thing that will cause impact yet. I have an idea and it's flourishing because I've been asked to speak at a summit in September and I might cause a little bit of a rumble with my perspectives.
Ooh, I'm
In the
excited. For you.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. But it's really about being of heart, being coming from the heart. I really love that because that's when you know the person is coming from the right place.
Yeah, because again, being that speaking is my background, I know the concept of TEDx is different because it's about, spreading an idea that's going to spark change. But I remember in my speaker days, a mentor once told me, never let what you want to say get in the way of what people need to hear.
Mm,
And I love that because I would go with my, planned speech of what I wanted to say. and what I wanted to teach in a workshop or at a keynote. And then I would get there and I would feel the room different. I would see the faces of people. I would intuitively know, like, ooh, maybe I'll share this story because
Yeah.
I'm sensing based on their response. And this is part of communication, listening. It's not just talking. Can you read the room? Can you listen to, the other person that you're delivering the message? And so there would be times where I did both, right? There would be times when I was like starting out a bit cocky and in my ego. I'm like, this is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say
Yeah.
this. And I said it and I would be satisfied. And it's like, okay, crickets. But then when I started to read the room and be more of a listener, I would change. I would go with something and do something completely different because I'm like, wow, I'm going to share this story instead because people need to hear that. And then I would see the results of that change. And so I think it's the same with this, don't let your ego and what you feel or think you need to say get in the way of, well, what are people really needing to hear right now? What kind of ideas will speak to that you have you've
Yeah.
been incubating?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Eliana, if folks want to get in touch with you because they want to hear you speak, do they want to welcome you to speak somewhere? How do they get in touch with you?
They can go to my Instagram, which is at the Soul Mami. They can find me on LinkedIn, Eliana the Soul Mami Reyes. Yeah, that's it for right now. And from there we
Okay.
talk. I mean, I'll drop my email here as well for you, and you can put it in the
Yeah, we'll
video.
put everything, we're going to put everything in the description for sure. And for myself, if you're looking for support for your teen, whether it's in class or an individual private coaching, you can reach out to me at teentalkwithnat.com. You can go and book a call there, get to know me a little bit more. Because really, my goal is to empower teens to speak with confidence, and I can do it in a short amount of time. I have mastered it. Whatever you choose to do, I hope you have an incredible day and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you, Miss Eliana Soul Mami, for being here.
Thank you for having me, Nat. Thank you, thank
It
you,
was
thank
my pleasure, and
you.
we'll see you soon. Bye for
Thank
now.
you.